Ouch! Ow! Ow, you weasel! Silly chair. Anyway, hi guys, and welcome back to Scale Motor. Just gonna have a quick can of Stella. Joking, it's Coca-Cola, I don't drink Stella. I'm not even wearing a vest. Anyway, welcome back to Scale. Try it again, shall we? Welcome back to Scale Motor. We are back with part 3 of the Suzuki. This build we're going to be looking at getting the frame done, getting the engine into the frame, and getting the back wheel sorted, getting 3D printed chain sorted, which wasn't the greatest, but it looks alright. Could have got away with the kit chain, to be honest. But yeah, part 3 of the Suzuki. The build has been going really, really well so far. I am recording this after it has been completed. It was almost smashed to bits when my shelves fell down, which was rather annoying. But it remained intact, and we got through to the end. So I've got the rest of the build series now is all edited. Just needs intros and voiceovers and outros. This is so I'm going to record them in a block, get it all done. So we're going to have this video out. Hopefully today you are watching this on the 24th of April. If you are, then I am on schedule. So I'm guessing you're not going to be watching this on the 24th of April because I'm never on schedule. Yeah. So. Hopefully this this is out, so we're going to have this video out, then I'm going to have a bench update, and then maybe a day or two after the bench update, so 27th of April, Wednesday, hopefully, part 4, and then Friday, before the live show, the charity auction on Friday, guys, Cancer Research charity auction over on ISM, on the Paul ISM Scale Models channel. We're going to try and push that as much as we can. We want as many people watching and taking part because all proceeds will be going to cancer research. So yeah, Friday before that, hopefully we'll have part 5 out. So that will be the finished build. Finito, el finito, done. Like I said, it's done, but hopefully we'll get this done soon. But today, like I said, we're looking at the frame, getting the engine in the frame, getting the swing arm done, the rear wheel, the chain, and the rear brake, and some decals, and a bit of carbon fibre on the rear hugger, and it's like I'm conducting an orchestra. But yeah, that's what we're doing, part 3 of the Suzuki. So I'm going to stop rambling on now because I've just filmed the bench update, which is coming out after this video, and my mouth is so dry at the moment, which is why I had to open up that kind of Stella at the beginning. So yeah, I'm going to stop rambling on because now I've got to do a voiceover. So I will see you in 2 seconds. Wait, I'm back. I'm back. I'm going to try saying this at the beginning of the videos now. So please give us a like, give a comment, and subscribe. Subscriptions are steadily climbing. Thank you guys so much. We're over the 1,000 mark now. We're on, as of this video, let me refresh. 1,358 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, please do. Stick around. You can see more stuff like this, various other stuff. Comment down below to let me know what you think of the build so far. If you've got any tips or suggestions, because I still class myself as a beginner. Any tips and suggestions, let me know. And give it a like. I'm trying to break 50 likes on every video at the moment, which isn't a monumental task considering over 300 people watch the vast majority of my videos, and some videos even break the 1,000 mark, which is mind-boggling. But yeah, give it a like, give it a comment, and give me a subscribe because that I would be forever grateful. But yeah, now let's jump in. So here we are. We are cracking on with our Suzuki. as mentioned in the intro, this is part 3, and we're going to be focusing on the frame and getting everything in the frame and the swing arm in the back end. So first things first, something which I do on all Tamiya kits, and it's quite annoying that they didn't do it on this one, even though they've done it on the CBR. The rear disc needs to be drilled. The holes are drilled on the actual bike, so we drilled them out using this fancy, swanky, handy dandy rotary tool I decided to pick up off Amazon just to try it out. 20 quid, excellent, does excellent work. I've used it for many things recently, and yeah, I've inspired a couple of people to pick one up too. Here's a little bit of a close-up of what I'm doing. I can't remember what size drill bit it was. I think it was a 0.5 mil. Maybe it might have been a 1 mil. No, it's definitely not a 1 mil. 0.5 maybe. Anyway, we're just going through all the holes we've got on the actual piece. We're just pushing them through, and then we just popped it on one of these sanding drum holsters, I suppose, which is a Dremel bit, and give it a little bit of a sand. This was mainly just to deburr. With the plastic parts, I didn't really want to bother going in and you know, add in like score marks from brakes and whatnot. I want this to be a pretty clean bike. But yeah, anyway, this is a chain which I designed and 3D printed using the original kit chain as reference, really, and pictures. I'm using some hobby design photo etch saws just to get it off the sprue, just because it is quite delicate, and as you can see there, I've broke it. This leads to dust everywhere, so we're using our swanky, handy, dandy, branded Scale Motor bench Hoover. These are sensational. I suggest you get one. You can get them on Amazon. They're about 7 quid. I'll leave a link down in the description for you guys. Then we jump onto painting, and priming did happen with Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black. However, I cannot find the footage for the life of me. I'm sure I recorded it, but I just can't remember. So we'll gloss over that. Painting pun. That was good, wasn't it? Yeah, gloss over that. And we're going to jump in with some gloss black. Over the next couple of videos, the camera angle jumps about a bit, and focus is a bit dodgy because I've moved my bench around and everything, and I'm still getting to grips with the best place to put the camera arm and the best way to focus, and I've got a new light as well, so I'm restricted by that too. However, gloss black, we're using Tamiya LP1 for our gloss black. It's thinned about 70% with Mr. Leveling Thinner. It's not, actually. I'm a filthy liar. It's Tamiya lacquer thinner with retarder, because I forgot to pick up leveling thinner, and this is the leveling stuff I have. So we treated all the kind of metallic-y parts with this, so it would be the frame, the swing arm, we done the chain, we done the brake disc, anything we were really then going on to do a metal coat on top of, because the gloss black really does help with that shine. And speaking of shine, next we're moving on to Alclad Chrome. This is through a 0.2 apex. The gloss black was through the 0.35 just to get more down. We ended up with about 3 coats of the gloss black, 2 thinner coats, and then a nice wet glassy coat. Leave that to dry, and then we can come back in with our metal colours. Alclad Chrome likes to go on in thin coats. I think the 0.2 needle does help with that, and I seem to get a better metallic finish through the 0.2, which is why I use it for the 0.2s. For the metallics and the metal colours. Couple of bits and bobs treated with Alclad Chrome, including the rear brake disc. This is something I accidentally done once. I don't know why, I just think that the Alclad Chrome does look really good on the rear brake discs. They're supposed to have a bit of a shine to them, especially when they're used. So yeah, using Alclad Chrome on the rear brake disc, and standard, as we do with Alclad, is lower the pressure a bit, which I can't really do with my airbrush properly, and build up some thin coats till you get the desired effect. Next, move on to LP48 Sparkling Silver, for the frame, and this colour is amazing. It goes down, and your first thin coat looks really like patchy and glittery. It looks kind of strange. It looks like powder, but then you build it up, and yeah, it is such a great silver colour. I think I'll be using it for various other things in the future because it gives you such a nice shine. You could pretty much hose it on and still get that nice kind of glossy, deep shine. Yeah, definitely a good colour, and next to stuff like Alclad Chrome and stuff, it really pops. It gives a bit of tonal variation, which is always great. The swing arm was also treated with this, and there's an insert for the triple tree, which is like the pivot for the forks, for those who are unaware. That was also painted with this, and then we went over the top with just clear blue, just to make it look kind of like anodized metal. I think with this stuff there was 3 coats again, 2 slightly thinner coats, and then a nice thick coat just to get a nice level finish. This was thinned with Mr. Rapid Thinner, just so it dried nice and quick. I suppose you could thin this stuff with leveling thinner as well, and you'd still get the finish, because even though there's like metallic particles in it to give it that sparkling kind of silvery shine, it doesn't. How can I say? It's not. I really don't know how to explain. I'm gonna have to try that with leveling thinner and see what kind of effect it gives. But I normally stick to rapid thinner for metallics. Masked up the front end of the frame because I needed to be painted in semi-gloss black. We used just LP5 for that, as you would. After we got loads of other little metal bits and bobs painted, you can see I'd done the chain in sparkling silver as well, just to get a nice silver, a nice shiny base for what comes next. But then we started to build up some pieces. The rear suspension, you didn't really see me painting it. There wasn't much to it. There were a couple of bits which we brush painted afterwards. Just a little linkage in semi-gloss black, and there's like a cover on the top which goes again in semi-gloss black. We didn't paint the spring because the spring came with the fork set. And putting it together is pretty straightforward as per the instructions. There's a shaft which comes with the kit, which goes up the middle, and there's 2 poly caps in the top part, and these just press onto that shaft, and then we have the spring around it. This is that part that's meant to look anodized. Quite happy with how it came out, and this slots in there. Keep an eye out for this. It's easy to miss. I almost missed this in the instructions, and I was just going to paint it silver till one day I was perusing the reference photos, and I spotted it was blue, so I checked the instructions just to see, and it does call out for LP48 and then X27, I believe, clear blue over the top. Okay, next up, once we had we'd built that, we went in and panel lined. So we're using Tamiya panel line accent color rather. There's no N in color. Tamiya panel line accent color black. We're just using this to go in all of the recesses. Let it pool in kind of the areas you want a little bit of definition, and then once it dries, we'll come back in with a cotton bud with a little bit of odorless mineral spirits, Winsor & Newton Sansador, just to wipe off any excess, just to rub over the high areas and leave that wash in the low parts. Okay, and next up we moved on to the chain. Now I've decided to try and use AK True Metal for this rather than mask everything off. So you've got the nice shiny silver which will be going along the outside, which will panel line wash rather. And then we're going to use the AK True Metal Gold with a bit of a dry brush technique to get the the sides of the chain links. The chain is actually a gold chain with like silver rollers and runners in the middle, which is why we decided to dry brush the sides in a gold, because I didn't have a really nice gold colour at this point that I wanted to use. Could have done polished brass by Alclad, but it seemed a little dark. And then this might confuse some people, some Park Green. This is for the this is going to be dry brushed along with some of the True Metal bronze, I think, or the old bronze on the rear sprocket. In the reference photo I had, the rear sprocket looked like it was some sort of heat stained metal, and it was greeny, kind of orangey. So I tried my very best to replicate that. It didn't turn out excellent. However, it's not super duper turn it to Snoop Dogg. It's not super duper visible on the finished model. But I'll put some pictures up where you can actually see the green on the reference and actually on the model. But anyway, once we'd done that, we moved on to just record in the back of my head, just because I like the pattern on my hat. No, I am just an idiot. Like I said, I've been moving my camera around quite a bit, moving the desk around, moving my bench around, so I'm just kind of getting used to everything. And looking back at the video, quite a lot of it had my head in, which is rather annoying, which is why this video may not be super duper in depth on some parts. But we're just using the Studio 27 Carbon at the moment. And what can I say? It actually went down really, really well. I was a little bit apprehensive because I've heard bad stuff about Studio 27. Not bad stuff really, just some maybe unfavourable things that it can be hard to use. I've had a haircut since then as well, by the way. I no longer look that unkempt. You would have seen at the beginning of the video anyway, I looked absolutely dashing. Sorry, I'm just filling now because there's lots of my head here, but there are some little interesting bits in between. We're doing the clutch basket cover at the moment. This came in two parts, so we decided to do the outside first. So we used a bit of microset first, put our decal in our multi-purpose ramekin in the top right on our decal warmer. Decal water warmer, which actually apparently doubles up as a coffee warmer. I did use it the other day and it did work, which blew my mind. That was sarcasm, by the way. But yeah, anyway, we then took the decal out, put it on where it needed to go, and then we used a brush to kind of get out any excess from underneath, and at the same time apply some UMP strong decal solution over the top. Once we'd give that a little bit to work its magic, and we prodded and poked it a bit more with our brush, we then hit it with some heat from the little heat gun, and that helped it to conform really, really well. So yeah, I was really pleased. That a brush and a wet thumb really, really did help with these decals, and yeah, I don't think I had any issues anywhere. Then we moved on to various other decals. These are the kit decals for the sponsorship logos on the back. You can see we've got some black on our Swingarm there. Those are the Studio 27 carbon fibre decals too. They go down pretty well there as well, no complaints at all. And then we've just got these couple of sponsor decals on the back. We got, I think it's DID, another one Akrapovic or Akropovich, however you want to pronounce it, and Michelin. I can't remember the other one. But anyway, these the Tamiya decals for this kit weren't actually amazing, but they weren't terrible. They went down, no qualms really. UMP strong, a little bit of heat. And they go down pretty well. Again, we're using a brush rather than a cotton bud because the cotton buds I've been using recently have not been that great, to be honest. the Johnson ones, they just seem to have kind of gone downhill. So yeah, we're using brushes mainly, just to make sure everything's down, and we've got the excess from underneath. And these are just some cheapo brushes. I think I got them from Hobbycraft, like 10 in a pack for $5 or whatever. But they do the job. They are synthetic brushes, and they work really, really well. And here's that handy dandy heat gun, which helps the decals conform, and it helps dry up any kind of excess decal solution and water too. Here we go, using that cotton bud and completely ignoring what I just said about not using the cotton bud. Yeah, generally it's the brushes, but every now and again I will get a cotton bud and wet my fingers and give it a push, because that does help to no end. Just make sure your fingers are wet, because otherwise you can and will lift the decal. Next up, I hate doing this. I really hate doing this, but it's something I think that just has to be done. De-seaming tyres. I know tyres have a seam from factory, but they're not that big. The seam is not that noticeable, and this tyre, I like to make the tyres look a little bit used, not ruined. So I always hit it with the UMP sanders and then rub it on my hand just to kind of actually use some friction. But that was done to both tyres, and then we used, again, as you can see in the top right, next to the fancy multi-use ramekin, is the handy dandy desk Hoover. And then we moved on to these rim decals. I like these ones. The carrier film is a little big for the actual placement of them. However, they are 3 separate decals, which is good. And because the actual pattern is broken and it's not one solid line, that really does help with placement, because sometimes the kind of solid line ones can be a bit funky to put on, and when you do put them on, it can be a nightmare to get them to look like a perfect circle sometimes. But these were brilliant. Yeah, they went down really, really well. UMP strong solution again, and a bit of help from the heat gun. What I done is I done both the wheels at the same time, and I done one side of the rear wheel, then I moved on to one side of the front wheel. Once I was pretty happy that this side of the rear wheel was done, I flipped it over and done the other side, let it dry, moved on to the front wheel, and then went back around everything just to make sure. Because before now I have done one side, flipped it straight over, gone to the other side, gone back to the other side, and the decals are just stuck to my fingers. And there we go, using the heat gun just to blow out any excess and slightly melt the decal and make it conform. And then we moved on to more carbon fibre. Now this was something I was dreading, just because there was a lot of nooks and crannies and creases and crevices and turns and twists and ups and downs and hills and valleys and peaks and whatnot. What I'm saying is it's not a uniform shape, and these are generally a lot harder to do. If you don't have one of these heat guns or a source of heat, maybe not a hairdryer, because they're a bit fast for my liking, and the first time I used a hairdryer I cleared the desk, which was really, really annoying, considering I had all my decals cut and everything. But if you don't have a little heat gun, I would really, really, really suggest getting one, because it helped to no end with this. I think the whole process of putting these 4 carbon decals on this rear hugger in total was about 45 minutes, which for something this shape I think is actually really, really good. I have spent hours on non-uniform shapes before. So yeah, just brushes and heat really helped. Again, UMP strong. Yeah, the UMP strong solution and heat, and these go down so well, so well, that afterwards they have a nice shine, and I didn't clear coat any of the carbon, and it still shines quite nicely. So I'm really, really happy with the decals. And there's another thing we carboned. That was a nightmare. I think that was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 or 12 pieces to that. And there we go. You can see those decals went down really well. No issues at all. Really happy with it. Really, really happy. And you can see it's got a nice shine. And there we go. There's the carbon fibre on the clutch basket, which we were talking... the clutch cover, which we were talking about earlier. And there is our magic multi-tool. I say magic multi-tool, it's used for one thing, really. There's our brake disc. I did use some Uschi powder on the wheel speed sensor ring, or the ABS sensor ring, or whatever it is, just to give it a different shine to the actual disc. I'm just getting some gunk off the tyres, but there we go. You can see the tyre markings too. Sorry, the rim markings. Speaking of tyre markings, here they are. These ones, pretty simple, pretty quick. Again, same process as we done with the rim decals, as in which sides we done. But to actually lay them down, I cut them out as close to the decals as I could, peeled off the backing, peeled off the actual decal, put a bit of moisture on the tyre, popped the decal where it needed to go, just lined it up slightly with the tweezers. They are delicate decals, so do be a little careful. However, they are quite easy to put down. Once you've done that, just give it a little push. Not even much excess water on these cotton buds. Literally just using the water which we put down originally. Roll the cotton bud over just to push out any moisture. That's what I'm doing there, and you can push down just to make sure it is seated, just to make sure it is stuck properly. And then once it's kind of translucent like that, we can just peel off that film, and it's pretty much on. There was a hair there, courtesy of Scooby. But then once it's there, you can give it a little poke. You can roll over it gently, and it's pretty much done. Once that's dry, then you can just brush over the top ever so slightly with some matte varnish, and that'll get rid of that little bit of shine from the decal. But they are super simple to put on, so don't worry too much about them. Next up, we have come to putting stuff together. Engine slots in. It is pretty tight, and there is one screw which is longer than the rest, so just keep an eye out for that. I think that screw ended up being missing for mine originally, but we did find it. So yeah, there's 4 screws. Just be careful, you don't want to scratch your paintwork, so don't go slipping with a screwdriver, or don't go forcing things into place. If something is not going into place, don't just give it a push and hope for the best. Have a look, see what's interfering, see what's see what's causing the issue. If you can't find it, then maybe do push it and hope for the best. But just take a look, because you never know, it might be something simple. You could have left a toothpick in from when you were painting. Not that I've done that. Never done that. Or yeah, so just be careful, and you should be golden. Next, we forgot to detail the screen. Super simple, really. Just using a kind of Valejo off-white, because we don't want brilliant white really. We're just loading up our Army Painter Psycho brush or whatever it is, and just going over the tops. The reference pictures show these white, so we just hit them with white. I did go overboard on one part and slightly miss, but then we just come back in with a little kind of light brushing of the Mr. Surfacer, which is the colour I left at, the 1500 black, and that neatened it up. Okay, and now we're going on to building it up. The chain, like I said, is very delicate. As you can see, it did break, so I did model in the locating points for this piece as well, but I think I accidentally sawed them off when I was sawing the supports off, which is really annoying. But But that's fine. I just had to line it up with the bolts which were on the front face of the sprocket. Once we got that on, we popped in place on the swing arm, and then we glued in our our broken piece of chain. You can't see the brake on the finished model, thankfully, because it kind of hides behind something. I can't work out if that's the top or the bottom. From here, that's the bottom, and yeah. So the brake's on the bottom, and you can't see it because it hides behind the swing arm and the paddock stand. So that's good. Because of the waxy kind of AK paint, the super glue wasn't actually working that well. Here I did have to try once or twice just to get it in place. But essentially what I'm trying to say is, if you do have resin pieces, just be careful, because resin can be quite brittle, and especially delicate pieces like this. And I didn't pay much attention really to that, and I ended up breaking it more than once because I did fix it at another point previous to painting. But yeah, here we are. Just going to dip the tip in the glue and glue it on. And from there, we gently slid the wheel in, broke the the rear caliper that come flying off. No problem, just give it a little pry open and we could slide that in. I kind of like the way they've done this back end to kind of hide maybe screw points or connection points. It's just a shame that those chain adjusters are molded solid. I understand why they've done it, for strength and rigidity up the back, but yeah, if I had more time, or if I could have been bothered really, I would have 3D printed ones or drilled these out maybe. But I thought, nah, I'll stick to the 3D printed chain because I really just wanted to get this finished. So yeah, just be careful. And also, you will realise that I'm putting the caliper on upside down, and I'm thinking to myself, why in God's name is this not going in? And then I realised I'm putting it on the top of the swing arm like a fool. So we did end up flipping that round to the bottom. You can see me, I'm staring at it. I am confused. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I realised, hang on. And if the bike is looking that way, that should be where the chain is. The chain is not there. So maybe I should take this off and flip it around. And there we go. That's when I realised I was being a melon. So I flipped it around and it fit in lovely. And then we just popped a little glue on the front there just to put the top of the chain adjuster on, and then we could put our screw was already through, I think. Yes, it was. Then we we stuck our rear hagger on, and yeah, pretty much just continued with the build up. We were done there. You can see I broke off that piece of chain yet again. Then we slid this in. If you built a Tamiya bike kit before, you know these slide in quite well. There's a kind of notched locating point where they slide in. What I found strange is that the top, well, maybe not strange, but the top of the suspension, the rear suspension, didn't connect. It doesn't glue. It just slides in. There's no screw or anything. It just slides in. So we slid that in, lined it all up, and then we got a big long screw to go through our swing arm. And then there was a cap. Pardon me. There was a cap which goes over that screw, which is something Tamiya have started doing, which I absolutely love, because I just like hiding those big screws. Okay, and once we got that paddock stand on, the very last thing to do was the rear brake cable. I say cable, it's not, it's a line, so it's the rear brake line. This was a bit fiddly to do at this stage. I wish I had stuck this on sooner, because it has to go kind of around and through and over and then bend and turn and stick in. So what we done is we glued the pipe onto the banjo fitting, popped the banjo fitting through. As you can see, it's poking out the bottom there, just wiggling around freely. Then I believe I popped the connection on the brake side. That's on the actual foot. The lever side, that's set on the rear sets. I connected that up, and then we glued in our banjo bolt onto the rear caliper. I don't think I actually put any glue on this connection to the master cylinder. Master cylinder, that's the word. Anyway, so here we are. We are done now. Well, we're not done. We are done, but we are done with this part for now. So I'm just going to flash up a couple of photos. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Really, really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll mention a bit more and flash up maybe another photo or two now in the little outro. So there we go, finally another part done and dusted. Yeah, like I said, thoroughly enjoyed this so far. It's great to be doing a buddy build alongside Paul at Paul ISM, and yeah, good fun, good fun. I wasn't too happy with the 3D printed chain or the colour of the rear sprocket, but it was good enough for me, I think, and it doesn't take away. I'm looking at the finished model. It doesn't really take away from the finished model in any way, I don't think. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully you are watching this on the 24th of April, which is a Sunday. And if you are, that means then tomorrow on Monday is going to be my bench update. And then we're gonna get a couple more parts of this out because it's all pretty much edited. Just need voiceovers, intros, and outros. But yeah, that's it. That's that one. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought. If I could have done anything better. I know this video wasn't super duper in depth in some parts, and that's just because my camera has been moving about the place. And I ended up filming my head a lot, or filming at the blooming window, or too far this way, or yeah. So I do apologise for that. In future builds, we're gonna get that all sorted. But yeah, that's done. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But in the meantime, have a great day and stay safe. Shapow!